Hi there everyone, and welcome to this week's Tack Tip Tuesday at Summerside Tack. Today we're going back to one of my favorite topics, bits. Most importantly, we're going to look a little bit more into mouthpieces, more specific, the number of joints and how it affects the physics and mechanics of the bits. So we'll start off with just a common single joint loose ring snaffle. So as we learned earlier, this is a snaffle not because of the joint, but because it applies direct pressure in the horse's mouth. So this is a very common type of bit, very traditional. As you can see, just one joint. It allows us to work the horse's mouth on either side. Another super common type of bit, in comparison, this is a loose rake French link snaffle. So it is a double jointed type of bit. As you can see, the two joints. The French links are typically flat links in the middle. This is another really common type of bit. Another example of a double jointed mouthpiece is the lozenge. So as you can see on the lozenge, it's actually more like a bean. It's nice and round, sits on the horse's tongue a little bit more comfortably than the flat link. This is one of my favorite type of bits. It's a really great buy to for the professional choice ones we have in store. You can also find double jointed bits on Western type bits as well. Right here, this is called a dog bone. So the dog bones are a little bit longer and narrower on the link compared to a French link. So the difference of these bits, you can kind of see a little bit more when you put them in your horse's mouth. So when you have the single joint, it lays like that versus a double joint. So I find the double joints lay on the tongue a little bit nicer, where the single joint can kind of poke up a bit more. One thing that you'll find people talk about with single jointed bits too is the nutcracker effect. So depending on a couple different factors such as the quality of bit and the type of riding you're doing and how heavy you are with the hands, if you pull on a single jointed bit too hard, you can see how it'll kind of close into a V. So as that happens, it's kind of like you're breaking nuts. They don't get this far, but so that's where the term the nutcracker effect came from. So if you pinch up, and that can drive right up in the horse's palate, and that's not really comfortable for them. So that's where some horses might prefer a double jointed bit instead. You can also have other different types of bits, such as this kind of super neat multi-bit from Springer. This one's really cool. Some horses prefer that. Some horses even prefer just a bit with no joints to it. So this is just a simple mullen egg butt. So one of the most important things when trying to decide about what bit to use is learning how to read your horse. Each horse is an individual and likes certain bits. I know some horses who prefer a single joint, and some that prefer the multi-joint, and some that prefer no joints, and some that prefer even no bit at all. So take some time to listen to your horse and see what their bit of choice is. Thanks for tuning into this week's Tack Tip Tuesday. If you have any suggestions or recommendations, let us know in the comments below. Thanks!